Hello, everybody. Nine Anades. It's Sunday. How's everybody doing today? Weekend go all right? Everybody safe? Happy? I hope so. If not, no, I got a good thought in my heart for you. Today we're going to do a little Canada content because it's time. We just passed our first budget up here in Canada. Well, we didn't pass it yet. It's been brought to the floor. So we have the leader of the opposition, Mr. Pierre Poilievre, who likes to get up there and bitch and moan about what's wrong with everything, but he has no solutions. Sound familiar? So anyway, we're going to get into that. But first, if you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to love me, like me, subscribe to my channel. That would be a great thing. Just hit that bar. We're trying to grow, and I need people to subscribe and leave a comment or two. But be polite. If you disagree, that's fine. We're allowed to disagree, but you're not allowed to tear the person down. Just not. Don't be a shit. And hangers on. There you go. Cheers, dears. I don't drink coffee very much because it upsets my belly. So I found this stuff. And it's from, probably have to zoom in on this, but you can figure out where to order it from, I guess. But it's pumpkin spice. It's made with dandelions. Who knew? Oh, well, that's what I'm having here. And I got a little shot of oat milk, pumpkin spice. That kind of day. That kind of day. So anyway, how about we get into this stuff? It seems to me that the Conservative Party of Canada is an extension of the Conservative Party of the United States of America. Just saying. What they do to conservatives that don't seem to be towing their line, they like to dig up dirt on them, they blackmail, and they threaten to ruin anyone that crosses the floor, and any combination of those. Well, according to Sharon Carr, who is a journalist with CTV News and iHeartRadio, and apparently she has a lot of contacts on Parliament Hill, and one or two within the Conservative caucus, and they're saying it's pretty bad on that side. Matt Genereux resigned from the party after rumors he came over to talk with senior staff of the Liberal Party, meaning the Prime Minister and his cabinet. So he talked to some of the senior staff there. It got back to Poilievre, and to say the least, they made his life a living hell. On the day of the budget, a second member crossed the floor. Well, Matt Genereux didn't cross the floor. He was going to, but I think he got threatened. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, the second guy's from Nova Scotia. He said he'd been disillusioned with the way things were running, to say the least. So Genereux, the guy from Edmonton, had stated at one point in a letter that he wrote, his resignation letter to Poilievre, where it said, "Stop contacting my family," or words to those effect. That he stated that he was not joining the Liberals. I think that was like, this is what you're going to say. When, in my opinion, the revised letter came out, and it specifically stated that I am not being coerced. Why would you put that in a resignation letter? I mean, the guy only got elected 6 months ago, but he had to put, I am not being coerced, which means I am being coerced into writing this. So I think that letter was signed under duress, in my humble opinion, just saying. So that's what he said when he revised the letter. It specifically stated he was not being coerced. So the budget came out on Tuesday. It's Prime Minister Carney's first budget. So what happens is the party presents the bill on the floor, then the opposition party, which is Poilievre's, they get to put forth an amendment, and then they vote on the amendment. They get to take out what they want. voice their opinion on what they don't want, what they won't vote for, blah, blah, blah. And then it's the Bloc Québécois, because it goes by the number of people in the party. And then the Bloc Québécois puts forth their amendments, and same old, same old. And they put their budget amendments in there, and that gets voted on. But in all this kerfuffle, it seems that Mr. Pierre Poilievre forgot to put in his amendment to the budget. He didn't put one on the floor. And I think that's really stupid. Or he's just incompetent. So he didn't seem to mind taking up 25 minutes on the floor to bitch and moan about how horrible the budget is. And they're not going to lower prices on food, and they're not going to lower housing costs, and they're not going to build more homes, because he always has the negative. Canada's broken. Canada's broken. Well, Canada's not broken. And all this horrible things that should be in the bill, but he didn't put forth an amendment to get voted on, because I think he knows it'd be voted down. So anyway, if nobody votes for this bill, there can be a no confidence vote on the floor, and the Prime Minister has to call another election. I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, Poilievre has got no game. Coincidentally, it appears that right after the second back-to-back defection, every single Conservative MP that exited the chamber after that second defection said, "Oh, Matt's a good guy. I wish him well. He's a good MP, blah, blah, blah. Hope he enjoys his family," all the rest of the stuff. Some of it seemed forced, and I know a lot of them meant it, because he seems like a nice guy. He does. Then came the brag and gag, where all the MPs blow copious amounts of smoke up Poilievre's arse, saying, "Oh, he's such a great leader. He's a strong leader. He's a good leader." Those guys, basically, they're saying that they're red conservatives. That's our thing, like our rhino thing. Oh yeah, they weren't any good anyway. They were horrible. So constituents didn't think so. But Poilievre's going back on everything he said on the campaign trail. He's voting against everything again. So the brag and gag session happens, and they all have to tell Poilievre how great he is, how strong he is, how bigly he is. And right away, it all went up on all the MPs' social media. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they were put on notice to do exactly that, seeing as his approval rating across Canada, and especially with women, is in the toilet. And most people in the parties don't like him. So there could be, he's supposed to be up for a leadership role, for the leader of the party. He's supposed to be voted on. I don't think he's going to get it. I really don't. I don't think he's going to make it to Christmas. But anyway, he thinks he's a chameleon, but he's really just a Party City cosplayer. When he was campaigning in that riding out west, dressed up like a cowboy, new cowboy boots. I mean, you could tell by the way he was walking, he's never wore cowboy boots before. But anyway, this guy was voted out of his riding after over 20 years in Carleton, in Ottawa. He did nothing for the riding. They were sick to death of it. They voted in a Liberal. He used to be the housing minister. Now, remember when I said that he's like, they're not doing anything for housing, and they're not going to build enough houses, and there's housing costs are too high. Well, when he was the housing minister under Prime Minister Harper, he voted against making housing affordable numerous times. And he allowed over 800,000 affordable rental units to be sold off to corporate landlords and developers. The average house price under his tenure rose by 70%. It was bad enough that the Liberals rose housing costs to 45%. And instead of trying to get that down, no, he rose it another 70%. And he did nothing to lower it. So he can shut up about housing prices and costs and rents, because he votes against all that shit. He wants to cut the Housing Accelerator Fund, and that will cut billions and billions of dollars from the housing construction, and it will make it harder for municipalities to build more homes. He'll even make it harder for some folks who are cranking up your rent and fighting rent controls, because these are the people, the very same people that Poilievre caves to every single time. The real estate developers and the investors. That's who he's for, not for you. You got trouble paying your rent? Oh well. My buddies that are your landlords, they're going to get theirs, and they don't care about you. Almost half of the Conservative Party's lobbyists are involved in oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, and businesses that don't want to raise workers' wages. They are also for the anti-union construction associations, because these guys don't care about your safety. They don't care if you get benefits or not. His deputy leader tried to protect a for-profit nursing home company that's record profits and very high fatality rates during the pandemic. Our military had to go into some of those homes to see what was going on and try to move some of the residents from these homes. And they said it was just disgusting. It was just disgusting. So his caucus chair is also the chairman of a major grocery store chain. And I'm thinking it's probably Lawblaws. Lawblaws. We used to call it Lawblaws when I was a kid. But anyway, and he voted against the national food programs for schools and to lower grocery prices. So anytime he's saying food's too expensive, the Liberals have to do something, he voted against it. Every time it was brought up in the 10 years that Trudeau was in too, he voted against all that stuff. And now he wants to form a, he loves Trump's right to work. Laws that attack and starve unions of the resources they need to fight for your rights, better wages, and benefits. Yep, that's what his right to work is. Nice guy. He is against anti-scab legislation. Not just once, he voted against it 8 times. He hates labor and he hates unions. He came into politics at the age of 25 years old and has been sort of like our Charlie Kirk type thing, being a little cheerleader on university campus. That's what he did. But he collects a pension now because he was 25 years old when he came into his first stint in office. He gets a pension of $120,000 a year while doing his damnedest to make sure that you never see a decent pension of your own. Because he apparently hates old folks too, because he wants to eliminate defined benefit pensions. In my opinion, he wants to gamble the money that pays your benefits with inferior plans, and he's looking for bosses who will transfer that to their workers. So we're not paying it. We gotta take that out of your paycheck. Yeah. So he also thinks it's just fine for his multimillionaire friends to keep their money, pay a mere token in taxes, which is way less than you and I pay. He opposes raising the capital gains tax for billionaires. I wonder why, because they pay his way. This guy is allergic to lower and middle income families. I guess he sees himself as an overlord to work them a little harder and pay them a lot less and raise everything that they need to survive. Food, shelter, clothing. Yeah. He voted against bringing all those prices down. Both of those MPs that quit Poilievre, and believe me, they quit Poilievre, have been getting death threats for entertainment purposes only from some of the ass kissers in the back room in the caucus. Not to mention what they sent out to the riding. The RCMP have launched an investigation into some of the more particularly heinous death threats against the PM in Nova Scotia, his wife and his whole family. The Maga Maple thugs are chasing these, I suppose, the guys like the Chaos Convoy that traveled across, the ones that all had the fuck Trump signs or fuck Trudeau signs and everything on the back of the car. You know, like, yeah. We have the same thing here. We got the pickup trucks with the 400 flags in the back. Yeah, we got all that shit. And they don't know that they're, by going for Carney. They think that's biting the hand that feeds them, because this asshole's voted against everything you think he wants. You don't listen close enough, I'm just saying. But anyway, after all this happened, everything he voted against, your best interest, he is back on his anti-DEI. He doesn't think diversity, equity, and inclusion is a good thing. And he wants Project 2025's agenda to be placed in Canada. So the Maple version, I guess, to be put in force. And they're dressing it up as merit-based hiring. Who said that? Would that have been Pig Hegseth? Yes, that's what they want. So I'm guessing if it's not white, it's not right. So in Canada, we have a pretty good track record when it comes to gun control. And we have had approximately, I'm thinking maybe 15 mass shootings in Canada's history, where the US has had over 260 just since January 1st. We have good gun control laws. And nobody's taking your fucking guns, because if you can see that farmers, hunters and everything going out around here, nobody's taking their guns. They're not. Poilievre now wants an American-style law like Stand Your Ground, or his version, because he's such a patriot and on your side and all, he calls his the Stand on Guard law. He says you have to be able to defend your family quickly without having to think about 9 different conditions, and it's wrong for the law to apply complicated, indecipherable legal doctrine when you were only trying to do what's right. Sounds good. Sounds good, right? But we already have those laws on the books that says homeowners do have the right to defend themselves and anyone else that is in the home at the time of the attack. And the law was made under Stephen Harper with Poilievre's blessing. He's the one that got in there and helped finagle that. Yeah, that was him. Don't put that on the Liberals. That was him. And he cites a case in Collingwood where a homeowner shot and killed 2 masked men who zip-tied him and held him at gunpoint in 2019. The victim was initially charged with manslaughter, ×2. Then the cases were withdrawn in 2021. But what I want to know is how that guy was zip-tied and held at gunpoint, but he managed to find a gun and kill the 2 of them? I'm sorry, but that just sounds a little suspect to me, but I wasn't there, so I digress. This is like, he is mad because the cops showed up, 2 guys are dead, only 1 person's alive. He gets arrested because he's the only guy alive. There is an investigation that has to follow, and especially when somebody ends up dead. You have a whole crime scene, you've got everybody coming in. So after the investigation, the homeowners was exonerated. Pierre says, this is just like the Liberals' 2-tiered justice system where the monsters get sympathy and endless second chances, and Canadians defending their families are treated like criminals. Bless your heart, you little shit. Well, Pierre, with all the stuff you voted down for all the citizens in Canada, the right to cheaper food, cheaper rent, I think you're a monster, and I have no sympathy for you. I truly don't. You know, I think you should have the day that you go back and giggle with all your rich friends about. Yeah, have the kind of day you deserve. Anyway, 99 loves you. Be good, be safe. Please take care of you first. Cheers, dears. I love you lots. Don't forget to subscribe. Mwah. And newcomers, you hang around long enough, you will be a hangers-on. Okay, hangers-on, take care of you. Have a good start to your week. I love you all.